Hey Rezlife, it's your girl Leah here, one of your Rezlife directors, and today we will be talking about the parable of the unmerciful servant. Now we've been learning more about parables and miracles, and I want to take this time to just remind us that a parable is a simple story used to illustrate a moral or spiritual lesson. Personally, I love parables. I see them as an invitation to ask questions, to free any doubt, and to feel free to have discussion with community. Parables remind me of the Jewish tradition of Midrash, which encourages an open space for discussion. It's pretty cool. Often in church history, scripture has been used to end discussions. But what if instead we use scripture to begin conversations? So let's start our conversation with the parable in Matthew 18. Here we go. Peter came up and asked Jesus, "When a sister or brother wrongs me, how many times must I forgive? 7 times?" "No," Jesus replied, "not 7 times. I tell you, 70 times 7. The kingdom of heaven is like a ruler who decided to settle accounts with the royal officials. When the audit was begun, one was brought in who owed tens of millions of dollars. And as the debtor had no way of paying, the ruler ordered this official to be sold, along with family and property in payment of the debt. At this, the official bowed down in homage and said, 'I beg you, your highness, be patient with me, and I will pay you back in full.' Moved with pity, the ruler let the official go and wrote off the debt. Then that same official went out and met a colleague who owed the official $20. The official seized and throttled this debtor with the demand, 'Pay back what you owe me.' The debtor dropped to the ground and began to plead, 'Just give me time and I will pay you back in full.' But the official would hear none of it and instead had the colleague put in debtor's prison until the money was paid. When the other officials saw what had happened, they were deeply grieved and went to the ruler, reporting the entire incident. The ruler sent for the official and said, 'You worthless wretch! I canceled your entire debt when you pleaded with me. Should you not have dealt mercifully with your colleague as I dealt with you?' Then in anger, the ruler handed the official over to be tortured until the debt had been paid in full. My Abba in heaven will treat you exactly the same way unless you truly forgive your sisters and brothers from your hearts." Now, students, living in a kingdom of forgiveness, it doesn't mean that we don't need healthy boundaries. And it does not mean we stop seeking justice. We can uphold justice and enforce boundaries while still letting the work of forgiveness put the end to the hurt and offenses that we carry with us. This parable offers a caution against becoming entitled and arrogant in our own salvation and then judging others from this place. I'm going to share a story with you. I'm going to be honest. I'm in grad school right now, and recently I had to ask for an extension for a paper that I needed to turn in. It was my last paper of the semester, and my teacher was gracious with me, forgave my inability to finish my paper on time, and allowed me to have more time. He showed me grace. Okay, this is embarrassing, but not a week later, I got angry with my husband for not finishing a task we had planned to finish by a certain time. I did not show him the same grace given to me by my teacher. And this to my husband, whom I love greatly. Imagine, if it is so hard for us to show grace to those who we love, how much harder is it to show grace and forgiveness to those we don't get along with? And yet, Jesus says forgive all. This parable, it challenges me. It challenges me for the times that I have denied others the grace given to me and acted in judgment. And it challenges me for the unforgiveness that I still carry in my heart. So outside our living room, there's this field of dandelions. And in a way, I see my heart like a garden. Like this field. And I can experience the work of Jesus and deal with the unforgiveness that I carry and pull out all those dandelions up from the garden of my heart. But in a month, the garden of my heart is filled with dandelions again. Forgiveness is a prolific spreader. And parables like this one are reminders that we have lavishly been gifted with grace and that God asks us to replace our attitude of unforgiveness with one marked by grace. If you know me, you know that I like theater, so indulge me while I quote some Shakespeare. Mercy is twice blessed. It blesseth him that gives and him that takes. To live in an environment of mercy is to live in an atmosphere of peace, healing, and growth. Okay, so if Shakespeare isn't your thing, maybe you're into the hit musical Hamilton. I love the song towards the end as Eliza forgives Alexander and the whole chorus is singing behind them, forgiveness. Can you imagine? It's so beautiful. Have you felt forgiveness and then refused to give it out? You've probably heard this phrase, holding a grudge is like drinking poison and then hoping the other person will die. If you think back to our parable, it kind of makes sense. This official who had been forgiven this great debt refused to forgive the person who owed them a debt. And we see how that affected his life. What happens to you personally when you choose not to forgive? And better yet, what happens to you personally when you choose to forgive? And then what happens to that other person? My challenge for you today is to let God's forgiveness permeate out of you. You'll be happy that you did.